Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I always promise on Victoria's Family, we have exciting guests, and today is no exception. Man, I'm meeting a new friend today. I'm so excited about his topic. I'm so excited about him. He's from Wisconsin, Pastor Mike, and I call him. And man, he has written a great book called Newlywed. But in addition to that, he has been blessing many with just in his ministry, Time of Grace Ministries, and he's now talking about a Christian guide for loving year one. We all know how important that is. That first year is so critical because it sets the foundation for a lifetime to come. And Mike, welcome to the show, Victorious Friday.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Terrence.
Yeah, I tell you, when I'm thinking, the question that you had in your book, when you want to kind of start a marriage, man, I need to connect everybody with you so you can give them the secrets and give them the guide, to a happy marriage and all of that good stuff. Uh, Man, tell me a little bit about your family, my friend, and just a little bit what inspired you around writing this book and also what you're doing today.
Yeah. So I am blessed to be married to Kim. We got married right after college ended. I met her the first week, my freshman year of college. She was my first ever girlfriend, my second ever date, and God in His mercy gave me this amazing woman. So we got engaged junior year, married right after college was done. So 23 years in, we got two daughters now, Brooklyn and Maya. One off to college here in a couple of weeks, and the other a junior in high school. I'm a soccer player. I'm a runner. I'm a reader. I love traveling. And I love writing books. So I'm excited about this new one, Newlywed.
Man, that's so exciting. I was just thinking as you were saying, just thinking as your daughter's going off to school, just think if she meets a guy like you and uh,
Oh
and
no,
then married
no,
for
no.
another 23 years, man,
Like
that would be something awesome.
I don't want to think about my daughters and boys right now. I was having a good day, Terrence, and now you're messing with
Hey man,
it.
hey man, you just trying to get them out of there, man. You just trying to get them off the payroll. Hey, they're on the payroll for another 4 years, man. So don't worry about it. Well, man, I tell you. So, what inspired you to write the new book, Newlywed?
Yeah, one is more practical and one is more kind of communal. On the practical side, Kim and I would go to a lot of weddings, and as you know, she's putting on a beautiful dress, and I'm tying my tie or retying my tie so I can tie it right. I would always ask her, like, wait, what do we get in the couple? Am I like writing a check right now? Are we just giving them a gift card? Are we doing something off the registry? And, you know, as Christian people, we really wanted people to fix their eyes on Jesus Christ from day one of their marriage. And while we could buy them some pots and pans off of like Target.com, I think we wanted something more practical. And this book kind of came out of that. Like, let's set couples up with their eyes fixed on Jesus, having the right conversation so that their year one can be an amazing way to start their marriage. Um, on the kind of communal side of it, I actually interviewed 20 newlyweds from our church and two professional Christian counselors. And I was kind of examining like what I kept asking them the question, what did you think this was going to be like? And what was it actually like? So what assumptions and expectations did you bring in? And then would like the real thing of marriage hit, we're like, whoa, I thought I knew about that, but I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
And so kind of what they told me turned into the outline for this book. It's about communication and it's about when you're not on the same page with your faith or when your in-laws feel like they're overstepping or sex is more complicated than you think or you have your first big fight or you have the same fight a second time, all that stuff and more. How do we work through that with an open Bible and with the love of Jesus guiding our conversations?
Yeah, that's so good, man. I mean, as I was looking at your new book, Newlywed, am I just looking at it? I mean, you're covering all bases: faith, communication, sex, family, finance. You know, I just listed it all. In-laws, the whole deal, right? So this is the complete guide, the comprehensive guide here. Yeah, I was excited about it. One of the things, and you touched on it. I call it the difference between reality and expectations. Can really bring frustration and widen the gap. And my dad used to always say it's nothing like a good understanding. and uh,
Yes.
and when we get off track, because we're in love and all of that, and we're assuming a lot of things. Sometimes we don't either talk about them or write them down or visit them. We can get off track and not even know we're off track, and then it blows up into a whole nother situation. I'm really interested in this topic today because I see a great number of friends and family members and others that are just walking away from their marriage. They're struggling. They're looking for help. They're looking for advice. Um, and so, what is happening? What are you seeing out there? Are you seeing similar trends that inspired you to write this book, or what are you seeing out there in terms of marriage and the challenges that marriages are facing today?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are familiar with the headlines that Americans now are getting married later than ever before. Fewer are getting married than ever before. And this trend of what they call gray divorces. Like, I'm not just a newlywed and it didn't work out. Like, I'm 20 years in, we just sent the kids off to college, and now I'm thinking, like, maybe I'm done with this. So it's weird. It feels like marriage is like taking a few hits from a few different directions. People are either skipping it, they're delaying it, or they're opting out of it once they've been in it. So something, in the recipe of our culture seems to be off. And I think what we're trying to do is to resolve that by putting Jesus back at the center of it. Because man, culture teaches you, without saying it, to be really proud and you focused. But as Kim and I always say in our home, me first makes a mess, but you first makes us blessed.
Hmm.
So, Jesus is the one who's saving us from the mess of saying, but I feel, but I want, but I expected. And just like he came not to be served, but to serve, it's Christ at the center of the marriage that keeps us humble, which is like the fast track to happiness together. So I think that's what we're trying to do to save people from this like creep of just looking in the mirror too much and instead teaching them to serve the other, which is all based on the gospel and what Jesus did for us.
Yeah, yeah, no question about it. And you really focus on that first year of newlyweds, but it really starts way before then, doesn't it?
Mm. Yeah, it does. I think just having those conversations. I had to study biblical Greek in my education for a pastor, and I learned that in biblical Greek there are two different words for to know something. One is to kind of know it in your head. I look at my weather app and it says it's 81 degrees outside, so I know the temperature. But then you step outside,
Yeah.
right? And then you know it in a different way by experience. So I do think there are some things in marriage where you can't get them from a book. Even if that book is totally right, you just have to experience it and you're going to learn and grow from it. But I'll tell you what, there are a whole bunch of other things that you can learn before marriage begins. And good pre-marriage counseling, good conversations about budget and about chores. Like, hey, growing up, what did your mom do and what did your dad do? And if we get married, what do you expect me to do and what do you think that you're going to do?
Mhm.
When I come home after a long day of work, do you expect me to like get up at it, the dishes and the food, or kind of like sit down and grab my phone and chill? Like, these become really emotional things, and very often we enter into relationships not even thinking to ask the questions. And so I think what I'm trying to do is as fast as possible, let's ask the big questions that get us on the same page, so we can pursue the same goal and hopefully end up with the same happy love together.
It's great. And I was just thinking, and I want to get your perspective on this. When you're married, you're also married into another family, into
Hmm.
another life, sometimes multiple families. It depends. How important, in your opinion, how important is it to have maybe not the same conversation, but a somewhat similar conversation with that other side of the family, your in-laws, for example, just to kind of get an understanding and perspective, and let them know who you are. What's your thoughts on that?
Massively important. Um, there's these two words that come up a lot in the Bible when it comes to our parents. One is probably the most famous, honor your father and mother.
Hmm.
So whether you're single or married, that call to honor those who sacrifice so much to you, it never ends. Sometimes couples want to be so independent and starting something new, they forget to honor and have good conversations and listen to the wisdom of their parents. But on the other hand, on page 2 of the Bible, it says if you want to get married, you're going to have to, quote, leave your father and mother. And they might have an opinion, but they don't get the deciding vote anymore. So this isn't submitting to the authority of mom and dad anymore. And, kind of what I see in couples is some people, let's say they're really people pleasers and they're really close with their parents. They want to honor them so much that they don't really leave. And other people are so independent and like, we're going to do this our way that they don't honor. And they kind of end up on an island without the support that they need to do this right. And I think the wisdom is holding those two things in tension. Can we be an independent couple who's going to decide what we're going to do for Christmas based on our own decision, but in a way that really honors the people who have given so much to us? I actually think it's really easy to be critical of in-laws, but now that as my kids are getting older, and I think, man, I love these girls so much, and to think that some dude is gonna swoop in and in a couple years, wait, he's gonna take like the deciding vote away from me. He didn't change those diapers. He didn't pay those college tuition bills. So I'm starting to feel the tension of that, of like, man, it's really easy to say that, the mother of the bride, or, his or her parents. But I think in the best kind of families, there should be this tightness that makes you want to honor them and make them happy with everything that you can do. So can you hold the honor and the leaving intention? I think that's the wisdom of a good marriage.
Man, that's really good. One of the things that we've been doing as a family for 20 some years is we've been having our family devotionals. We started very early. And early in there, we talked about when you meet a significant other, if once you're serious, bring them on the call. Now we have a Zoom call now. We used to meet in person. They're all out of the house, praise the Lord. And Mary, uh, but we still have our bi-week now. They're bi-weekly, what we call family devotional sessions, and we just really talk about life, pray for each other, and talk about God's word and so forth.
Mm,
Um, and in there, I got to know my son-in-law and my daughter-in-laws early, right before they were married. Because the first, we say 6 months to a year. Really, if you're really serious, bring these folks on the phone
mm,
or in the meeting, and that way we really get a chance to know them. We get to know their faith walk, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
mm,
And today, we're still doing our biweekly calls, devotional sessions,
mm,
and so I get to know what's kind of a little bit more what's happening. It's a different role now, obviously, from a parent to an in-law, and having two daughters and one son. I get a chance to see the perspective now with grandkids. It's a whole nother perspective. But the blessing for me and my wife is that we had a chance to really connect on an intimate basis, relational
mm,
basis, with
mm,
our new son-in-law and new daughter-in-laws. And we still do that, and they're still on the phone. They're still and we give them an opt out. If you want to opt out, no issues. But we haven't had anybody opt out yet, so I haven't done my job effectively yet. But
mm,
anyway, that's something that has grounded us as a family,
mm,
and particularly in our faith, but also in our walk, everyday walk.
mm.
Um, I mean, what do you think about that process?
I I love what you're saying. I think so much of the fruit that we reap in the future is based on the habits that we root ourselves in.
Yes.
And kind of what I hear you saying is that you set up a structure so it wasn't just like, oh, we should stay connected. I mean, you built a system,
Yeah.
and it's not so rigid that you can't opt out of it, but
Well,
you found a way to stay connected.
yes.
I think that is just epically important. Kim and I heard, I forget if it was a sermon or a marriage seminar years ago that talked about habits like that, and it said the best couples talk every day, date every week, get out of town every quarter, and take a vacation every year. And we found that a high bar. We could rarely check all four boxes, but we found that like it, even if work's crazy, if we can just sit down, like no phones, 15 minutes, take a walk together around the block, and just like connect on a more intimate way. If we can have that habit every day, and we built in like a Friday night date night every week, and kind of what we've seen, it's not the stuff that we say we're going to do or that we do, when the spirit moves you. It's the stuff that we build into our life as habits. And yeah, I think we could apply what you're saying to so many things. You're talking about in-laws, which is fantastic. Most people don't want to drift from the relationship with their in-laws, but in your busy life, you just stuff keeps you occupied. And so building in a system to stay close. You could do the same with money. Okay, I don't want to talk about money every single day, but maybe once a quarter, let's just sit down, see where we're at, how you feeling, how we doing, any frustrations, any joys. So I think if you build in those systems within the end of year 1 or 2 or 5, you're going to find out you reap what you sow, for better or worse.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah, I
has a
think
system
those
thrives, and what doesn't doesn't.
Yeah, I think those daily and weekly rhythms are so critical. And you don't have to be rigid, but just intentionality is what I'm positioning here. I always say we're not necessarily too busy and overwhelmed. What we are misprioritize.
Mm,
And we have a schedule that's tight, but and there's a lot that we try to pack into that. A lot of times, especially when the kids come, they take precedent, obviously, take a lot of attention when they're young. And so the marriage kind of begins to get challenged, right, in those
mm,
early years. And I think it's just a critical time to bond. But let's jump into your book. What's so critical about year one, man? I mean, this is a critical year, obviously, right? So what's so critical about
Yeah, you're setting the trajectory. And,
it?
by the grace of God, we can change in year two and we can go to counseling in year seven. Kim and I did that.
Hmm.
And you can read a great marriage book in year 44 or 23. So it's never too late to learn. But man, isn't it so good when from the start you're moving in a direction that you want to move in?
Yeah.
And I love it. For me and Kim, if I can be personal, like one of the bigger struggles we had was with intimacy. And there's just things that I learned 15 or 12 or 7 years in that I wish I could go back to year one and say, oh, Mike, you need to know this, man. What you think you know, you
Yeah.
don't know. And there's going to be so much joy that you're going to get to enjoy and so much heartbreak and pain that you can avoid if you can start doing this God's way
Mhm.
with humility and communication and mutually agreed upon expectations.
Mhm.
Um, in our case, Kim and I both came into our marriage as virgins, but I had an over decade long addiction to pornography. And I think what that did and kind of tampered with our marriage was it gave me bad expectations about sex.
Mhm.
It made me expect that sex was going to be easy because in everything that I had seen online, it was it was never like, guys interested in girl's not feeling it right now, so they kind of patiently serve each other until the timing is right and they do the dishes and put the kids in bed and returns to me. It's always easy and it's always passionate from the start.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of message seeped into my subconscious and it made me impatient and it made me frustrated and it made me wonder like what was wrong with us. And the fact is nothing was wrong with us. We were a normal couple with ups and downs and the need for communication. So yeah, that's what I care about, whether it's sex or in-laws or money or communication. Like from the start, can we just have the right conversations and then we can build on that in month two and month six, so that by our first anniversary we think, wow, I'm so grateful to God that He gave me you.
Yeah. No, that's so good, man. And thank you for sharing that. When I think about it, and the conversations and the processes, it is a process of this relationship of growing and maturing, and whether it be intimacy, whether it be knowledge of one another, etc. It's so critical, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. There's a lot of guys I know who are amazing at fantasy football,
Mhm.
and I think why they're amazing is that they just pay attention and they react according to the data that they have.
Mhm.
And I sometimes tell guys, treat your marriage like fantasy football. Like you don't have to be a genius. You
Yeah.
don't you don't have to be like a professional relationship counselor. If you just pay attention to like what works and what doesn't, what makes her happy and what makes her feel frustrated. And if you adapt like your game plan based on the data that you have, mate, you're going to be better than 95% of the husbands out there. So you don't need superpowers. You don't need to read her mind.
Mhm.
Just pay attention and react to it. And if you
Yeah.
can, I sometimes tell guys, if you can act without being asked, like if she asks you for something and you act upon it, you're a pretty good husband.
Mhm.
But if you can act and she doesn't have to ask because you've just been attentive to like
Mhm.
her joys and frustrations, man, that is when she will look at you and just think like you are a glimpse of the love of Jesus right here on earth.
Exactly right. Well, I was thinking about what year one conversations could really save newlyweds, or just I don't want to say save, but really just enhance that first year uh, for decades to come. When you look at it, what's that one or two conversations you would recommend
Yeah.
to really enhance the relationship and could carry it for years to come? What do you think? What would you say?
Yeah, I think communication
Hmm.
rises to the top of my list.
Yeah,
So, how the in-laws thing and the money thing and the sex thing is
yeah.
probably coming back in the end to how do you
Hmm.
communicate.
Hmm.
So, in the book, I have what I call the 10 commandments of communication.
Okay.
Um, Two of my best friends that actually are on staff now at our church, they came from some pretty rough backgrounds. And they said that when they discovered these 10 commandments of communication, it totally transformed their relationship and the way that they would communicate about everything. In fact, to this day, like 10, 15 years later, they have a framed copy that I gave them way, way back like right before they got married, and they said it just like sits in their living room and saves them from the drama and gets them back to God's goal.
Yeah.
I know we don't
Man,
have
we
time
all
for
need
all.
that. We all need that one, man. 'Cause you know you got to rattle off the 10. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Give me the top three or five, or give me all 10. Let's go.
Yeah, I'll give you number one, number four, and number
Uh,
10.
okay,
Number
let's go.
one, you shall not try to win. What I've seen is if you think that communicate, let's say you're frustrated with your spouse's spending. If you start a conversation and your goal is, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm going to win, you're going to lose, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that I win and you lose. Um, well, most people don't say it that crassly.
Right.
That is how most people approach. Like, I'm mad that you're listening to your mother instead of me. So I'm gonna talk to you, and I'm gonna win, and you're gonna be wrong, and I'm gonna be right. We're not having as much sex as I want. So I'm gonna tell you why you're wrong and I'm right, and I'm gonna win. Um, that desire to like put myself first, it leads to interruption. It leads to not active listening. It leads to exaggeration. You always like you honestly break most of the commandments when you forget that first commandment. But if you can step into the conversation saying, I want to understand exactly where you're at, and I want you to understand where I'm at. And if I can't change your mind right now, but if we can get to that point, man, for most couples, that is the victory and things resolve themselves.
And Pastor Mike, I tell you, that's not only just for couples, that's for life in general,
Mm,
friends, etc. I noticed that in a trip I just came back from, if you start to put others first
mm,
versus you first, you
mm.
avoid those win situations and other conflicts.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome for year one in marriage, but it's also relevant and awesome for everyday life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Amen to that.
yeah. All right,
Yeah.
hit me with number four.
Number four is really related. You shall repeat your spouse's point. So,
Mm.
if you and I are in a disagreement and you say something, but my goal is just to win, I'm going to say, bah, 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 and I'm going to jump in with my point. But what lowers the temperature and what leads to mutually agreed upon expectations is when I can say pretty frequently, okay, so what I hear you saying is
Mhm.
this. And well, that sounds obvious. Honestly, in the heat of the moment, when things are emotional and tense, that is the thing that often goes out the door. And what happens is, well, I think this, well, I think this, but I think this, but you did this, but you're forgetting about this, and you blah, 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 blah. When if just one person, hopefully both people can say, okay, so you're really frustrated because I said I was going to be home at 5:30, and then I just wanted to finish those last emails, and I came home at 5:50, and the dinner was cold, and you felt like I was disrespecting you. Am I understanding you right? Oh, yes. And very often, understanding is 80% of it, right? Just to have emotions validated. We think in our deception that we have to be right, but so often being right doesn't make you righteous. And so that, I mean, for me, that's the commandment. I'm a quick talking, competitive guy. I'm like wired to win sporting events,
Yeah,
but I have learned that marriage is not a sporting event and winning is losing in so many instances. So,
yeah.
yes, repeat, repeat, repeat to make sure you're understanding well.
That's good. That's good. I like that. And that's again applies to a lot affirmation. People want to know that they're being heard.
Hmm.
That you and then sometimes it brings clarity, right? Because you can say, well, she's not really mad at that. She's really mad
Mm,
at something else. There's that thing underneath the thing.
mm.
So you got to get to that because you're arguing over the surface. I always say, yeah, man, you're arguing over a headache when you really have a brain tumor. You got to work on that brain too. All right, what's that number 10? Hit me with number 10.
Yeah, you shall talk at the foot of the cross.
There we go.
Um, it is crazy to me that I have never loved a human like I have loved Kim, and I don't think I've sinned against any humans as much as I've sinned against Kim.
Yeah,
That is sobering. That in marriage you can't hide. Your spouse is going to see the Prince Charming and the troll, the best part of you and the exhausted, visceral, sinful part of you. So I honestly I don't know. I don't know how you get through marriage without a lot of Jesus and his forgiveness.
yeah.
Just every single day, knowing I'm trying to be patient and kind and put you first and understand your heart, but I fall and I fail so often. So to know that as we work through this together as husband and wife, that there's Jesus with arms open, with mercy that's new every single morning, that we don't have to carry the baggage and the regrets, that we wake up in the peace of knowing that we're good with God. Man, that without that, You're going to lack the forgiveness that you need for your own heart and the motivation that you need to love a person who sometimes sins against you. So, yeah, don't try to win. Repeat your spouse's point. Argue at the foot of the cross. Seven more. Those are the 10 commandments of communication.
Man, I love those. And you can get the other seven in Mike's new book, Newlywed. He talks about when you want to start marriage, year one the right way. But it also applies, as you can hear, I think it also applies to life, these principles, but marriage in particular. So, Mike, I'm excited about this. What I do is give our guests the last word, and anything you anywhere you want to go, and you can take it. And I want to thank you for being part of this, but leave our listeners with a message to carry them forward, especially in their marriage.
Maybe my favorite verse about marriage in the Bible is where Jesus said, "What God has joined together, let no one separate." And I love that. God is not just the one who started marriage way back in the days of Adam and Eve. He is literally the one who brings two people into the one flesh covenant of marriage. So there's days when marriage is going to be like the best, most fun, fulfilling relationship you've ever had. And in those days, lift your eyes to the sky and say, God, you did this. Like you, you literally love me so much. You gave me this woman. You gave me this great relationship called marriage. And when the days are difficult and you want to run and you want to win and you're ready to throw in the towel and call it quits because nothing has challenged you like this, you can say no. But God does not just love me individually, he loves my marriage. He loves me and Kim together. And if he brought you two together, he loves that too. So to know that in the good times, praise God, and in the bad times, God is there, that he's fighting for this, that you can communicate well, enjoy intimacy, figure out the in-law situation, spend money in a good way. Marriage can be overwhelming, especially in year one, but to know that the God of the universe is on the side of your marriage, to me is one of the most beautiful things about marriage that Jesus ever said.
Amen. I agree with that. And so, thank you so much for sharing with us that wisdom. And I think this marriage is such a critical issue and topic to have today. And fathers, I want to encourage you, as Ephesians 6:4 says, fathers, don't exasperate your kids, but to train and instruct them in the Lord. So this marriage relationship is even bigger than you and your spouse. It's really about the honor and privilege we have to raise our kids to know and to love who Jesus is. And so we pray that that's the central focus of that union is to love one another. I obviously love him first, love one another, but also love those he has given to you to raise, to nurture, to really equip and to train them in the Lord. So thank you so much, Pastor Mike. I'm encouraged. It's been a great conversation, and man, I look forward to hopefully many will go out there and buy your book. Tell me where they can find the Newlywed book. I know you got a lot of places, but where can specifically can they find information?
Yeah, there's this little bookstore here in Wisconsin called Amazon. If you're, yeah, that's the best place to go.
Okay.
Amazon.com. Just type in
I
Newlywed
Amazon. All
Pastor
right.
Mike.
Pastor Mike, we got it. All right, my friend. I always encourage don't just buy one, buy 10, because you want to give 9 copies out to your family and friends. And so let's get out there and get some books, okay? I
Love it.
appreciate you, my friend.
Thanks for having me.